All right, good morning. Thanks everyone for joining. My name is Kindra Fox. I'm one of the account executives here in Toronto, and I'm extremely pleased to see all of you here at the show, so thanks for coming. Who here has heard of PlanGrid before? Okay, so we have got some new faces. All right, so we're going to jump right into the product. We're going to do a product demo today. We're going to highlight the core product on the mobile. So we're going to just go ahead and jump in. So for those of you who have never heard of PlanGrid before, we are a mobile field-first construction application that is very much focused on improving the construction productivity of office to the field. We are a device-agnostic platform, meaning we work across every device. So today I'm demoing on the iPad, which is the device that I feel most comfortable with. However, we work across all platforms, whether you're working on an Android, a Windows Surface tablet, or a desktop computer. We also work offline as well, so you can cache everything locally on your device. You can go out to the site, make markups, take photos, and everything is automatically retrieved and synced when you come back to a Wi-Fi connection. All right, so what you guys see here is the main project view when you launch the app. So you would just download the app from any of your app stores that you're on with your devices. We also have that web interface as well. So as I'm coming onto the app, I'm going to see a list of all of my different projects. So you can see here on the top of the screen, it says on the device. So what that means is I've taken my project from the cloud, which I've created, and I've cached it locally so that I can do everything offline. I don't need to have a cellular connection. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually demo this entire presentation offline just to show you how fast and easy it is to do that offline. All right, so this is when I launch my project. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you create a project in PlanGrid and how easy it is. And I would say this is one of the main differentiators between us and anyone in the market today is how fast and easy it is to get up and running on a project. Whether you're a general contractor, a subcontractor, an owner, or a developer, or even an architect or an engineer, it's really easy to get up and running as well as get your team up and running. We can get projects set up in just under an hour. So you can create a project, get all your drawings in, and we do all of the heavy lifting, which leads us into the uploading process. So when you create a project in PlanGrid, it's very simple. You go to the web, plangrid.com, you log in with the same login credentials that you created when you registered your account, and there's a big green button that says New Project. You're going to click that green button, and then it's going to ask you to bring in your drawings. Now, those drawings need to be in a PDF format, and you can connect with your computer or any cloud service that you may be using today. So a lot of my customers, they could be using Dropbox or SharePoint or Box, for example, and they can just connect easily with any of those cloud systems and bring in files. Once you bring in those files, you don't have to separately bring in architectural, mechanical, electrical. We actually do all of that for you. So if you wanted to grab a big package of drawings, 300 or 400 drawings at a time, we can easily handle that. We are very scalable to very large projects as well as small projects. So if you want to bring in a big package of drawings, you're going to drag and drop them in our system, and PlanGrid's going to do the rest. So PlanGrid has an OCR patented technology that actually reads and understands the drawings by reading the title block. So what it does here, and as you can see here as I'm scrolling, is you can see on the drawings themselves, there's a title name and a number. So that is automatically extracted in that uploading process. The secondary thing that it does on that initial uploading process is it also tags every single drawing to their discipline. So what I mean by that is when I click my filter in the top right corner beside my notification center, you'll see here that PlanGrid has actually sorted all of the drawings by their discipline. So if you're a sub-trade and you're coming into a large project with a general contractor, it's really easy for you guys to find information. So if I want to come in here and click on electrical, now that my filter's on, I can only see my electrical drawings, and that is in 2 clicks. All right, that leads me to the next feature that we like to highlight. So another feature that is really powerful in looking for information is our universal search. So this is like a Google search within a project where you can search any term, anything that you'd want to find within those drawings. So I can go ahead and search for the term door. And every single drawing that's associated with that keyword is going to populate. So I can come over here and see that there's 3 matches associated with the term door. And as I actually zoom in by pinching the screen, you can see here that the resolution is not changed. It's very clear, it's very concise, and it actually highlights where that keyword is. So you can find equipment numbers really easily, really anything that you might be looking for. All right, so that's gonna lead us to the next feature. So I'm going to use my filter tool here, and I'm going to actually go and find a tag that I had created to prepare for this presentation. So you can actually tag drawings that you're working on consistently as like a favorite so that you can constantly come back to them without having to sort through all of the drawings. So I created one here called Kindra. I'm going to go ahead and click on that drawing, and you can see here within that drawing there's a lot going on. So there's a lot of markups happening, there's some photos, there's been some attachments of documents, there's also been some deficiencies tagged as well. But what I want to highlight before we get into some of those features is the automatic tagging of the details. So in that initial uploading process, we do automatic hyperlinking of the details, which is a huge time saver in the industry. A lot of time in construction, this is a very manual process. So you'd have to go and find the detail and then sort through all of the different drawings to find the associated plan. So in this case, I can simply click on the detail. It's going to tell me which drawing it's attached to, and in a matter of a second, jump to that sheet. Now, if I wanted to go back to my previously viewed, I would simply click on my clock, and I would see every single previously viewed drawing that I had looked at in my project. So I can jump back. Now there's another way that I can look at these details. Perhaps there's hundreds of details on this drawing, and I don't have time to go through each one to find the one that I'm looking for. So what I can also do is we have a shortcut that we created in the bottom right-hand corner called 27 related. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you a bird's eye view of everything that's associated with your drawing. So it's going to give you all the documentation, it's going to give you any of the different RFIs, as well as the sheets and all of the details. So this is a really easy way for you guys to kind of sort through that information in a chronological order. All right, and that leads us now to versioning. So one of the biggest challenges in the industry as well when it comes to productivity is getting information from the office when there's changes that have been made to the drawings out to the field. And this is typically done manually, right? We're printing out drawings, we're distributing them to the field, and then when changes happen, there's rework that's associated with that because the field is not updated on what's going on. So it is a huge problem, and we understand that at PlanGrid, and that's why we wanted to make it really easy and effective to get information from the office to the field. And so what PlanGrid does really, really well is it actually does automatic version control. So it keeps track of the different versions that are being uploaded and then creates an icon that lets you know that there's multiple versions associated with that drawing. So if everyone wants to draw their attention to PA2.01, you'll see that that's highlighted in blue. That's the drawing I'm working on, and there's 4 icons underneath that drawing. So the first one that we're going to draw attention to is V2. So what that means is that there's 2 versions associated with this drawing. So if I go ahead and launch the drawing, I'm going to see the latest on the top. So always rule of thumb with PlanGrid, always the latest version on top, as long as the person who's managing PlanGrid, the document control manager, is adding the revisions in properly, then this is always the single source of truth in the field. Now, if I want to then go to the next version, it's really easy to do that. So I can take my finger in a swiping motion and actually just swipe up. When I swipe up, it's going to show me the older version, but it's also going to expand a banner across the top, letting me know that that's an old version of the drawing. But it's going to go a step further. It's going to ask me, do I want to compare with the most current? So what we can do now with PlanGrid is you can actually overlay drawings to see any changes, and any changes will be highlighted in red, which can be saved for later and added to an RFI. So in this case, there was a few changes that happened in red. But sometimes the drawings are not always aligned between version to version. So we've added an additional step that allows you to have more of a customized view of this. So I'm going to go ahead and select an area that I want to align. And what it's going to do is it's going to zoom into that area and allow me to realign the drawings, just to make sure that we're clear on the changes. And if you're not good with using your finger, we've also got a nice little, the arrows in the bottom right corner as well, to get very accurate with the alignment. All right, so once we've aligned those drawings, we see some changes that took place. We want to maybe save that information for later. We want to get that information to a subtrade. Now, with PlanGrid, we make it really easy for you to get information from our application to somebody outside of PlanGrid, whether they're a PlanGrid customer or not. So in this case, I can now take my share icon, which is in the top right corner, and I can take a snapshot of that overlay. Now, if I was to zoom in on the area as well, just to show you the difference, it will then take a snapshot of the zoomed in area. So it gives me 3 options. I can email it out to somebody who maybe not be associated with my project. I can save it for later. And in this case, I'm going to save it for later. And one of the most powerful things about PlanGrid is every single activity in PlanGrid, whatever you're doing, a markup, a photo, a video, a document, anything that at all, it's going to have a date and a time attached to it as well, and who did it. All right, so that is our sheet component. We're going to come back to that and talk a little bit about our markup tools, but right now we're going to talk a little bit about the navigation bar that's on the bottom of the tool. So you're going to see here we're currently on the sheet view, but we've also got a full document management system embedded inside the application. And you might ask, well, why is this important? Well, a lot of times in construction, we have a lot of silos of information. We have data sitting in our Dropbox. We've got data sitting on our computer. We've got data sitting on paper. What we really want to do, especially for construction, is we want to produce a really rich as-built. We want to be able to contain all of the data that's in design, to construction, to post-construction, and being able to turn all of that information over seamlessly. So what PlanGrid does is it enables you to actually bring in any documentation that's associated with your project that's not a drawing. So you can create folders, you can create subfolders, and you can bring in any information in that would be helpful to you in your project. One example is shop drawings. How many times would it be nice to have the shop drawings right beside our drawings in the field so that our guys in the field could see that? Well, you can do that with PlanGrid, and I can show you how to do that. So you can get creative with this. You can kind of go any which way. This is completely unlimited, and this is included in our core product. Now, for those of you that don't know, we've also been recently acquired by Autodesk. So in late November of last year, we were acquired for $875 billion, and we are now part of the Autodesk family, which is the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So what this means is we can also integrate information from Revit in with PlanGrid seamlessly. There's a plugin that exists today. So if you're an architect or a consultant and you want to try it out, we encourage you to go to the Revit website and download the plugin, and you can start a trial with PlanGrid for 21 days and actually try it out for yourself. All right, so we're going to come back to our sheet view, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we can link a document to the actual drawing very easily. So I'm going to go ahead to the older version just so I have a nice clean sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in this area. Now we've got our markup toolbar on the right-hand side. I'm not going to talk about all the markup tools today because it's pretty self-explanatory in some cases, but what I do want to talk about is the deficiencies, the documents of the linking of documents, the measurement tool and the camera, and then how to publish those out to your team. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to hit our linking tool. So this is how you link a document, or you create a manual hyperlink to the drawing, or you can include an RFI as well. So I'm going to go ahead and change my color. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag. And just as easy as that, you can bring in that document. So I'm going to go scroll through my document folders, and in this case, I'm going to bring in that shop drawing, and done. Within just a matter of seconds, that shop drawing is now loaded. I can now jump to the document, I can mark it up, and I can publish that to my team. So as soon as my foreman or my superintendent or my construction manager opens up PlanGrid, he's going to see that shop drawing on that sheet. All right, so I'm going to come back to the main navigation bar and talk a little bit about tasks. So for those of you, whatever vertical you're in, it's always good to keep a record of deficiencies when you're doing an inspection. If you're an architect, you're doing a walkthrough or closeout. And so this is something that we do really well at PlanGrid. This is one of our most loved features. So there's a module in itself where you can come in here and see all of the different tasks that you've created. You can create tasks from this module as well if they're not associated with a drawing, if you just wanted to create a task for somebody on your team. But what we're going to do is come back to our sheet view, and we're going to tag a deficiency to an actual drawing. Because this is what definitely happens a lot in the field, is when general contractors are trying to get information out to the subtrade, they need to tag all the deficiencies. And sometimes, in this case, we want to just get it to them really fast. We don't want to wait for them to create an account with PlanGrid or come into or learn another system. We want to just extract the information to them and get it to them fast and easily. So that's what we're going to do here today. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in again. I'm going to change my color. I'm going to click on my deficiency tool, and now here are all my different stamps. So if I'm an admin on a project, there's 3 permission levels. I can actually create stamps as I go. I can copy them from other projects, and I can basically be very creative with this in any which way. So in this case, I'm just going to say there's a safety issue. I tag it on the drawing. Now I get to input all of the information with that safety issue. So as you can see, you can specify if it's an issue, who needs to be assigned to it. So this is great if this is an internal issue. This is somebody who's collaborating with you on your project. You can also assign yourself as a watcher to receive notifications as that issue moves through the different stages. We've got 4. You can put a start date, a due date, and then this is my favorite part. So this is where I work with all of my different GCs. I actually own all of Ottawa, and I work here in Toronto. I work with a lot of different GCs and subcontractors. And actually, subtrades make up about 60% of our business. So they love our solution. So when GCs use PlanGrid, they love to use it because it benefits them from a data perspective. They actually get to own their data, unlike some of the other systems out today. So in this case, a GC can create a list for a subtrade. So in this case, I can say Black & McDonald. Black & McDonald is a customer of mine, so I can say that I'm creating a safety issue for them, and I can put in a description. I can add in any comments. I can also take a photo, so everyone say cheese. I can mark up that photo, and you can take as many as you want, and you can add in your cost and your schedule impact as well. All right, so now that that deficiency is logged, I can now come back to my main view here, go to my tasks, and you're gonna see here that safety is logged under new. But I'm gonna have a lot of different deficiencies if I'm a general contractor, right? I'm gonna have a lot of different lists for different trades. So how can I get this information out to the trade really fast? And that's usually one of the things that's challenging. So at PlanGrid, we've made it really, really simple for you, creating a filtering tool where you can find that information very easily, and you can filter on any one of those fields that we inputted information. So I can go here, which is my favorite part, I would say the path of least resistance, by selecting list, selecting Black & McDonald, and seeing that I have 4 issues under Black & McDonald as my list. I can then, from the field, create a task report in PDF or CSV and actually export that to the subtrade via PDF. They don't need to come into your system. They don't have to log into your portal. All they get is a nicely put together report with your logo, a table of contents, all of the information that we inputted with the pictures, the date and time, everything that you're looking at. And you can do that both on the web or on the app. I would say, does anyone have any questions?
So my question is that can you create a report with all the tasks that Black & McDonald has to cover, or is it only for that one safety task?
Yeah, you can really do it any way you want. So this is just the filter that's attached to just the list, but I could drill down even further to go with a type or start date, due date, cost, whatever you want. Yeah. Anybody else?
You said that that works with Reddit, that's right? Okay, is there another kind of files type that you can use as a fin or something like that for frame cut machines or CNC?
Other files that you can upload?
Just PDFs.
So in the sheet component, if you're plugging in from Revit, you can actually then, you can see the sheets, I can show you. So we have a BIM demo here. So all of these sheets have been imported from Revit in the plugin. But if you're not using the plugin and you wanted to bring any BIM information, you'd have to upload it under the documents.
I've sent some tasks out to a variety of subcontractors.
Yeah.
I'm the GC.
Okay.
How do I know if they've read them? And I want to go into a project meeting in another 20 minutes.
Yeah.
If they haven't read something, I want to look at a report to see who hasn't read what and what actions haven't been taken, so I can, well, harangue them or update them and say, you know, you were sent something 3 days ago. You should have responded by now. I want some response, etc. Is there any kind of feedback? You know, in email systems, I can tell if someone's read a document, but I wonder if your product does anything similar like that.
Yeah, so if the subtrade is collaborating with PlanGrid and they're on PlanGrid and they've purchased a license, because we don't provide unlimited licensing through the GC, everyone's aware of that. So because we benefit everyone that's coming in. So if you buy a license with PlanGrid, it's not just to come into your project, they can use it for any project that they're running as a subtrade. So that's why we want them to purchase a license. So you can have it two ways. They can be collaborating with you. They receive notifications. You see when they've received those notifications. All of that is tracked and recorded. However, if they're not collaborating with you from, for whatever reason, you can then push out that PDF report to them. And then at that point, you put your due date in. You put all the information that you could do on your part. It's now up to them, right? Control your own destiny. All right, so we're coming to the end here. So I might come back to the one sheet that I was working on and just talk a little bit more about some of the markup tools. And then we'll move on to the conclusion of the presentation. So we went over the deficiencies as well as the linking of documents. We also have a camera button, so it's pretty self-explanatory. You can just click anywhere in the drawing and take any photos. So you can select them from your photo library. We also have multiple integrations with some of the 360 camera systems that are out there today as well. Actually, don't want to do that. All of my son's video gaming is on there. And save. So you can add in as many photos as you want and create titles, and you can also layer those photos as well. So this is a great tool to use for creating as-builts because you can create layers on top of drawings, and then all of this can be turned over to the owner in a living as-built. So nothing has to be exported to PDF or a spec binder or anything like that. You can just transfer a license over to an owner. They can purchase one license and keep it going. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about the measurement tool. So you can take measurements within PlanGrid as well. So if I'm in an area and I wanted to take a quick takeoff, I can first calibrate the area and then set the scale and then click back into my measurement tool and I have access to all the different measurement tools. So it's pretty nice if you just want to do something quick. It's not exactly like some of the tools that are more customized when you're in the office, but this is a nice field tool for a superintendent or someone who needs to measure conduit or something like that when they're in the field. All right, so I'm going to make a few other markups here just to show you how easy it is. So what we're looking at right now is personal markups. So no one else on your team can actually see these. There's one additional step. So for those of you that are familiar with PlanGrid, you'll probably know what the next step is. But for those of you that are new, it's actually this finger button at the very top of the toolbar. So it's a select tool. So this can be used for different workflows. But for this one specifically, we're just going to run our finger through the different markups and then publish to project. If I have the right permission level, if I'm an admin or a power collaborator, I can do this. If I'm a collaborator, I cannot. So you can set the different permission levels for the different people that are collaborating with you in your project. And in this case, the color of the markups has turned a darker color than it was before. And if I click on the markup, I can see all of the markup history, the time, the day, and who made that markup as well. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about field reports, and then we're going to wrap up the demo. I know I have 5 minutes. Okay, awesome. All right, I'm just going to go into this report, this section of a project. So Field Reports is sort of a newer module that we've released in the last year and a half. It's really grown a lot since the first day that we launched it. We actually just launched a new feature to this where you can actually build the forms right into PlanGrid. So before that, you had the ability of uploading your native editable PDFs or using the templates that we offer, but we didn't actually allow you to build them. So now with the new feature that we just launched, you can basically customize it however way you want. So this is great for inspection reports, safety, daily logs, whatever you want. In this case, you can actually just click on the daily log, and you can put in the work, the materials, the equipment, any photos. If you're connected to the internet, it also takes the weather 3 times a day, automatically. This report, when it's submitted, goes back to the admin, and there's basically a nice record of all of the reports that have been filled out by the team, and then anything that was missed can actually then there's reminders that can go out reminding that team to fill out those reports. Anyone have any questions on the fillable forms?
Give us a sense of the sort of interaction between, like, will it pick up markups on the drawing that you do on site and integrate them into the report, or is it mostly just making it easy for you to type on site?
Yeah, so we don't actually allow you to pick up the markup specifically, but if you look down on this reference page here on the fillable report, we allow you to reference the tasks, the documents, or a snapshot. So remember, we took a snapshot of the overlay. You can take a normal snapshot as well of any markups that you've done as well, and then include that in the field report. Yeah. Anybody else?
So my question is something similar. Does the software scan images, or it requires an AutoCAD generated PDF? So suppose you just take a photograph of a drawing on site and just mark it up. Does it work? Does it recognize the title block, the sheet names, everything else, or does it have to be from an AutoCAD drawing?
It doesn't have to be from an AutoCAD drawing. It does have to be in a PDF format, and I would encourage you to just test it out. Create an account and try. I don't know how accurate it is with just a photograph of a drawing, but any PDF generated drawing that most of us work off of is completely it captures everything. It's very accurate. Yeah, and if not, you could always upload it into the document section as well if it wasn't picking it up. And you can also manually override it, where you can put in the title name and the number if it's not picking up as well as recenter the robot. Now, we didn't talk about RFIs today or submittals, but that is also part of our product as well, but we just wanted to focus on the core product. But if anyone has any questions about RFIs or submittals or some of our workflow bundles, you can feel free to reach out to me. I'm the local person here in Toronto. Thank you so much.